Once a year, America pauses. Families gather around a golden roasted turkey. Laughter fills the room. It's a day of gratitude, peace, and warmth. But what if this cozy tradition hides a far more complex, forgotten truth? A truth that began not in abundance, but in desperation. A story born on a cold ocean and written in blood, hope, and survival. In September 1620, a small wooden ship called the Mayflower left England. On board were 102 passengers, men, women, and children fleeing religious persecution. They were called the Pilgrims, and their dream was simple: to find freedom in a new world. But their voyage across the Atlantic was brutal: 66 days of violent storms, hunger, and disease. Babies were born on that ship. Others never made it. When land finally appeared on the horizon, they fell to their knees and gave thanks. They had reached Cape Cod, Massachusetts. But they soon discovered this new world was already home to ancient nations. For more than 10,000 years, the Wampanoag people had lived along these coasts, fishing, farming, and living in harmony with nature. Their villages thrived long before Europe even knew America existed. To them, the land was sacred, not something to own, but to share. Yet as the Pilgrims built their colony, they brought with them something invisible: disease. European illnesses spread faster than muskets ever could. Entire villages vanished. Thousands of native men, women, and children gone. By the time the Pilgrims came ashore, the Wampanoag were already broken and grieving. And then, one spring morning in 1621, they met. The Pilgrims stood face to face with a tall native leader, Massasoit, chief of the Wampanoag Confederation. At his side was a man who would become a bridge between worlds: Squanto. Squanto had once been captured by English sailors years before, sold as a slave in Spain, and later found his way back home only to discover his entire tribe wiped out by plague. And yet, he helped the Pilgrims. He taught them how to plant corn, find edible herbs, and survive the brutal winters. Without him, the Pilgrims would have starved. That autumn, after months of struggle, a miracle happened: the first successful harvest. The Pilgrims invited the Wampanoag to join them in a great 3-day feast: roasted venison, corn, seafood, and wildfowl. For those few days, there was laughter, music, and peace. Two cultures, two worlds, eating together under the same sun. That event would later be remembered as the first Thanksgiving. But history would twist the memory, polishing it into a fairy tale, because peace would not last long. Within a generation, the land once shared became a battlefield. The Pilgrims' descendants expanded their settlements, cutting forests, seizing land, and pushing tribes into smaller corners. Tensions rose until King Philip's War, 1675, one of the bloodiest conflicts in American history, where thousands of native people and colonists died. The man known as King Philip was Massasoit's own son. Thanksgiving, once a symbol of unity, now stood over the ashes of broken promises. Centuries later, America reinvented the story. In 1863, during the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln declared Thanksgiving a national holiday, a day to heal a divided nation and give thanks for peace. The story of friendship between Pilgrims and natives became a symbol of hope. But the truth, the pain, and the complexity were forgotten. A holiday born from survival became a fairy tale of innocence. Today, Thanksgiving means family, food, and gratitude. Yet it also marks the beginning of one of the world's biggest shopping frenzies: Black Friday, one day of thanks followed by one day of more. Perhaps this is the paradox of the modern world. Gratitude measured in discounts and deals, but maybe hidden under all the noise. The real meaning of Thanksgiving still whispers to us, through the memory of those who shared their harvest in kindness. Thanksgiving isn't just about the past. It's about who we choose to be now. When we sit at the table, we're not just honoring a meal, but the resilience of those who came before us. The Pilgrims, who risked everything for freedom. The Wampanoag, who gave and lost so much. And us, who still have the power to decide whether gratitude means possession or connection. True Thanksgiving is not in the feast, but in awareness. It's remembering that every comfort we have was once someone else's struggle. So, when you give thanks this year, remember the ocean, the storm, the corn, and the silence of lost voices. Because some stories deserve more than just a holiday. They deserve to be told and never forgotten.